a cop-hating councilman in Jackson, Mississippi, has caused a shockwave of public outrage after he called the sheriff a hog-head lying bastard in response to being exposed for a truly sickening act against a patrol officer and his family. Now, many are calling for the degenerate councilman to step down for disrespecting the sheriff and for the vile thing he did, and rightfully so. On Wednesday, July 19, 2017, unknown subjects targeted the home of Officer Alfred Jenkins, who works for the Pearl Department in nearby Pearl, Mississippi. At least 30 rounds were fired through the front of Jenkins' home where he lives with his family. The heinous attack took place Wednesday evening after Jackson City Councilman Ken Stokes told people to throw rocks at cops if they happened to follow a suspect out of their city and into Jackson. This vile act by the council member has caused outrage and is now being blamed for the horrific events that took place at the home of Officer Jenkins that evening. The hate crime almost cost Officer Jenkins and his family their lives, and Councilman Stokes is not being held accountable yet. The attack happened at 1 a.m. when the suspect shot at least 30 rounds into the officer's home, destroying his living room, bedroom, TVs, furniture, and memorabilia. Both Jenkins and his wife were home when the crime was committed, but thankfully, neither were injured. Now, Jenkins and his family are being forced to move immediately due to fear for their safety. They will move to another residence in the country because he and his wife no longer feel safe in their own home. Watch the original, shocking footage below of Councilman Kenneth Stokes telling people to throw rocks, bricks, and bottles at police officers from different jurisdictions. Police say the 30 rounds shot into the cop's home were either from a handgun or a rifle, but they still do not have any suspects. The leading theory behind the targeted family is that he is a police officer and motive was given to people by a city councilman. Councilman Stokes initiated violence and hatred against the officer and should be held accountable for part of the crime committed. The feeling of security and comfort will forever be changed for Officer Jenkins and his family. A fellow cop that works with Jenkins, Under Sheriff Raymond Duke, rallied the community together to help the poor family, encouraging people to donate, helping them replace damaged items and move to a safer place. He also issued a Facebook post which explains the intent behind the hate crime. The only apparent reason for the shooting is that Officer Jenkins chose a noble career that has now become looked at with disdain and hatred, Duke wrote. Officer Jenkins spends his working hours trying to protect others as they sleep or rest peacefully in their home. Now that same peace has been stolen from him and his family. Hiding in the dark, some cowardly punks targeted Officer Jenkins for his career choice. It is by the grace of God that Jenkins were not injured. Source: Wapped. Watch this next clip of Councilman Stokes calling Sheriff Duke a hog-head lying bastard. Stokes is an evil man for instilling the idea of such a cruel act against our heroes. Kenneth Stokes should be removed from his job and arrested for a hate crime just for telling people to throw rocks and bricks at police officers. Inciting to riot is a crime, and Stokes needed to be arrested as soon as it occurred. Now that the cowardly criminals have made the attempt to kill Officer Jenkins and his family in his home, I suggest a lawsuit be brought against Stokes for this hate crime. Jenkins now has to buy a new house for his family with bulletproof windows in another town just to give his family a little security. Thankfully, Jenkins' community is standing by him and his family during this awful time. Please share the story and tell us what you think by clicking one of the buttons below. We want to hear your voice.